MVP makes a ton of great throwing putters. We all know this. The Envy, the Proxy, some of the best in the game. And one of their best ones might not even be an MVP disc. That is the Mint Bullet. I have no experience with Mint. This is the very first Mint disc that I've thrown. Has the numbers 2401, and like I've alluded to, Mint is manufactured by MVP. This is one of their newer drops. It's the Mason Ford Eternal Flex Plastic. So this is kind of like their soft Proton. And today we're comparing the Bullet to an all-time classic in the MVP Atom, kind of the overlooked cousin of the Envy and Proxy. The Atom has the numbers 3301 and has that same core as the Envy and Proxy, so it's a great low-profile flat throwing putter. And we're also going to be looking at the TSA Praxis. This is a disc that I reviewed about a month ago, also manufactured by MVP. I really like this disc, and it's really similar to the Bullet, so we're going to test them out today, compare them, see which one I like the best, see which one flies the straightest. It's going to be a good time. Buckle up. Let's do this thing. We're going to start here on one of my favorite holes in town. It's a shorty, 200 foot, pretty wooded, but if you make this first gap here like 75 feet off the tee, you're pretty much home free. These discs are all straight to slightly overstable, so I'm probably gonna have to hang them out pretty flat to maybe just a smidge of Anhyzer if we want a chance of ringing it up. And we're gonna start with the Bullet, because that's really the disc that I'm most curious about today. Ooh, that is nice. Oh, and we get the pole hit on the first throw of the video. That's a sign of good luck. That doesn't really get much better than that. But if I had just given it like 1.5 feet more height, would have been better. Would have gotten the ace. All right, so Bullet's legit. We know that so far. Here's a TSA Praxis. I'm pretty sure the Praxis and the Bullet are basically the same mold. I'll get into that more later, but they're so close as far as all the geometry, all the dimensions. So this one should fly pretty darn similar. Yeah, that looks pretty good. It's gonna fade out a little early, but that was a great shot. We gave it the height, we gave it the chance. All right, now we got the Atom, which I actually have a ton of history with the Atom. It was the very first putter I ever putted with back in 2020. So despite the fact that it hasn't been on the channel much, I actually love this disc. I'm happy to be bringing it out here on the course again. Put that one a little bit low. That's okay though. Oh, again, that was close. 3 great shots. What a way to start. We got Bullet and Praxis, which both kind of 25, 30 feet long. And we got the Bullet here. That was an awesome shot with the Bullet. And that's really why I love this hole, because really easy to give this some ace runs, but still technical enough where it's kind of an interesting hole still. So good course design. I like this hole. Now we got a 260 foot par 3 Hyzer on the backhand, out and around to the right. Just have it fade in. Bit of a gully that we want to avoid to the left. But one of the nice parts of throwing these putters is that you don't really get much skip like you would with a faster disc. So don't really have to worry too much about the danger to the left of the basket. Let's start with the Bullet. That's a good shot. I like that. Flies nice. These are all a little bit overstable. Like, these are not really going to get any flip for me, I don't think. But at the same time, aren't really overstable like an Envy either. Kind of in their own unique little class here. Let's go at them. Oh, yeah. There's nothing like throwing putters. The flight of a putter is just something beautiful. I think these are all going just a little bit straighter than I need, but I'm also worried about cutting the inside corner off if I try to put too much Hyzer on it. I'm pretty sure the Praxis, because it's in this Nebula Aura plastic, which is the same as the Cosmic Neutron from MVP, I think this is the most overstable. That plastic tends to be pretty overstable in a bunch of molds. So I think this one, we can do a little bit more of a flex. Yeah, you can see that overstability kicks in. Nice shot. Those are some good shots. Those should be edge of circle-ish. So we had the Atom come up about 20 feet short, but still in great position. The Praxis, though, right underneath the basket, which kind of checks out because I felt like this Praxis was a little bit more overstable, helped it get left enough on this right-hand backhand Hyzer hole. And then we had the Bullet, which went about 20 feet long, so pretty tight grouping, these 3 putters. What really separates these molds from something like the Proxy is that when I throw the Proxy on a bit of Hyzer, I get that kind of like pop up to flat. Like it's not a truly understable disc, but it has enough understability to get that little baby flip up to flat. But these guys are all just a little bit more overstable than that, where that just a little extra bit of overstability on all three of these discs allow them to hold the line a little bit more without getting that little like flip up, which also helps with the flex lines, which we will really need here. This is an extremely wooded technical par 3. It's only 177 feet, so it's really short, but to do this on the backhand, I'm gonna have to really bend it on the Anhyzer and have it pan out to the right. So if any of these are too overstable, I'm not really gonna get that pan. I really need to force it over early in the flight. We'll see how they react. This isn't really the type of hole I'd be throwing these on. Typically, I'd like to go something a little more understable, but I'm just curious how they are gonna handle that Anhyzer angle. Let's go bullet first. Oh, I love it. Oh, we hit the tree, but that was the right shape. And you could see it took the Anhyzer, it was kind of fighting out and just panning. If it was more understable, that would just turn into a roller. But because it has that integrity, it just kind of held up to that Anhyzer really nicely, was trying to fight out there. Let's go at him. I think there's some rule about it being a mulligan if I can like reach out and touch it. Take two. Oh, see that one actually fought out. I guess I probably didn't put that on quite as much Anhyzer, but that one actually fought out pretty quick and kind of straightened out. That was more probably on my angle than anything else. Let's try to put this Praxis on more Anhyzer. I think we're gonna need the most Anhyzer for the Praxis. That's a beaut. Oh, we hit the tree. Right shape, but the tree, a bit of a poke and pray on this hole. So the early trees for the Praxis and the Bullet kept us outside of circle one. We're maybe like 40 feet on those ones. The Atom, which actually straightened out a lot, and I thought was gonna end up well to the left, ended up right here. We're only about, what, 18 feet from the basket. So, hey, now we've had best shot with the Bullet, the Praxis, and the Atom. So I guess it was meant to be. These three discs definitely have similar hand feels. They're all kind of in that like medium to slightly low profile echelon of hand feel for putters. But the Bullet and the Praxis, I really feel like might be the same exact mold. Now I know there is a lot of similar discs in disc golf. Like you could pick two discs that fit the same roll from two different manufacturers. There's a good chance they're pretty similar, but I've never really seen two discs made by the same manufacturer, two different molds that are this close together dimension wise. I took out the calipers, I measured pretty much everything I could on these guys. They did have like 1/4 of a millimeter different in rim width, but I'm not entirely convinced that that's not just because of slight differences between the plastics being used. I did some research online. I couldn't actually find anything from Mint, MVP, or TSA about these sharing the same mold. So maybe they're not exactly the same, but I mean, truly, I've never seen anything quite like this where they are so similar and made by the same manufacturer. Big difference being that the Bullet you can get in base plastics. They just came out with a new run of like their soft, I think it's called soft royal plastic for the Mint Bullet. Whereas the Praxis does not come in base plastic. So you have to go with like a few premium options for the Praxis, which that's, you know, no big deal. But my point being that I love the hand feel of all three. That like middle profile hand feel is my ideal for throwing putters. 240 foot par 3. This one curves off to the right. So this is like chalk forehand hole. I go forehand here all the time, but testing these guys out, I definitely can't forehand these effectively at all. So we're gonna stick with the backhand and just see if we can get like a nice little subtle Anhyzer and have it just kind of drift off to the right a bit. We'll see how it goes. Start with the old Bullet. Yeah, fought out. That just goes really straight. Like I can put that on just a nice subtle Anhyzer. It'll fight out in that mid-flight, kind of straighten out. That Bullet I'm really liking. Let's go Praxis. Not great, not great. I mean, they can't all be great. Adam. And again, just so straight. I love these guys. I am just a sucker for straight throwing putters. This is my bread and butter. We didn't really get the subtle Anhyzer turnover I was envisioning, but because these guys went so straight, we got some pretty good looks at the basket here. We're still inside circle. We got Bullet right here. We got Adam a little obstructed, but only about 20, maybe 2-ish feet away. So we're gonna go straddle from the old Adam here. There we go. Busting out the straddle putt. If you guys have a favorite straight throwing putter, why don't you drop it down in the comments below. I'm having a really tough time deciding which of these three I like the most. The flights are so similar, really glidey, straight flights with just a little bit of overstability at the end. Chef's kiss. I mean, that's a great flight. However, this is a 293-foot uphill par 3. I'm not making it there with these guys. Okay, I'm not even gonna... No illusions here. I'm definitely not making it. I need like a fairway driver to truly get up there, especially because of the uphill angle. But we're just going to throw these guys hard and see how they hold up to a nice hard throw. Let's go Bullet again. All right, that one drifted a little bit off to the right. That wasn't really the cleanest release. I feel like I had a little bit of flutter on that out of my hand, so I actually feel like that's kind of why it drifted more to the right than I thought it would. Let's go Praxis. Try to clean it up a little bit. Yeah, that's a nice shot. You love to see it. I mean, that's just maybe 10 feet past the Bullet there, a little bit to the left. I like that one. Let's go Adam. Yeah, that one held the angle. That's kind of what I expected from the other two. That was definitely the cleanest release. You could see it didn't really pop up, just held that angle, that slight hyzer the whole way, fade off to the left just a little bit. But that should be a pretty tight grouping for those three. All three of them went pretty much the same distance here, but this Adam, because it held that hyzer angle the whole time, got left enough where it kind of opened up this nice little putting corridor. On second thought, I could definitely make it here to the basket with a mid-range. That's a nice looking, oh! Almost had a nice circle 2 grab. Now we got a par 3, 234 feet. Kind of have to crest this hill right in front of the tee pad. Bends off to the left just a little bit. I think this lines up really well for all three of our putters. Bullet. That's a beaut. Probably need a little bit more air under it to get to the basket, but that should leave us at edge of circle. Let's try to put the Adam a little bit higher. That's pretty good. That's not bad at all, but I think a little bit flatter would have helped us out too. So now we get to go double correction with the Praxis. And that's the double correction. I mean, that's a great shot. That should be right underneath the basket. Praxis, we've had some good shots of that Praxis today. What a great way to end it. We got the Bullet right inside bullseye. We got the Praxis also inside bullseye. We have the Adam basically inside bullseye, a little bit further out. So guys, I don't know which one I like the best. I love them all. I could see myself bagging any one of the three and being super happy with them. If you have a preference for any one of these three, why don't you let me know down in the comments. Thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. If you enjoyed this video, I'd appreciate it if you also consider liking and subscribing. Also, you can follow me on UDIS community at Flying Fajita. That way we can stay in touch during the season. You can also follow me on Instagram at Flying Fajita Disc Golf. As always, guys, I love you. Take care, and I'll see you next time.